Again, welcome. I'm David Littleton. I'm Director of Data Analytics and Product Management at IntelliCredit. IntelliCredit delivers solutions for community financial institutions that do a number of things, but the primary one we're going to be talking about today is our analytics tool that provides a tool for access, analytics, reporting, and visualizations about the loan portfolio. And so we're going to be diving into a case study with Matt Wright, who I have with me here, who has been a user of the tool for a little over a year at this point. And Matt, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Sure. Hey, thanks, David. Appreciate you guys having me on. My name is Matt Wright. I've been with my position here at the holding company, Lincoln County Bancorp, for a little over 11 years. I've been in banking for a little over 30, which is very hard to say, but I started when I was 4 years old, so no worries there. But in my current role, I do loan review for the 4 banks that we have in our holding company, as well as the ACL calculation every quarter, among several other things. But that's kind of my background and what I'm doing currently.
Great, yeah, and we're very grateful to have you, Matt. So, okay, so to begin, we have a few polling questions that I need to just pull up. Give me just a moment. We very much appreciate your participation in the polls. So go ahead and launch the first one here. So the question is, what tool are you primarily using today for loan portfolio analysis? Yeah, just a few moments for those answers to come in. We're nearing 100% participation, so thank you everyone very much. And just a few more seconds. And all right, so Excel was the number one with about almost half of the participants stating Excel is the primary tool, and then core system comes in second, and then other software platform or product, and then nothing was actually had a couple of responses as well. And I can share those results actually for everyone to see. But now we have the next one here. So this question is, what board/management reports are the most valuable to your institution? So this is a long answer response. So whatever that report may be, just type that description or name of the report in, and we'll log that. And these answers, Zoom doesn't give an effective way to provide this feedback live, so won't be able to do that like the previous one. Okay, just a few more seconds here. Thank you for everyone who has responded thus far. All right. And then last question, what would you like to report on but find challenging today? Another long form answer. So just whatever area of the portfolio or type of risk management or any other sort of reporting to do with loan portfolio data or other data at your institution, whatever you find appropriate here. All right. Quite a few answers there. I appreciate it. There seems to be some enthusiasm around challenges in reporting. So be interested to take a look at those responses. So thank you very much for everyone who participated in the polling. So to start off, we're going to talk about some best practices in loan portfolio reporting and analysis. And I have a few key points here that I'll cover, and then we're going to get into some of Matt's specific use cases, and we'll do a screen share in the portfolio analyzer tool that he uses to do a number of reporting and analytics tasks that will demonstrate that as well. So some key things that I've observed in the most successful clients that IntelliCredit has. So we manage data for over 100 community financial institutions all across the U.S. and in something like 35 states, or give or take. And so throughout all of that, I think the institutions that really keep it simple have the most success. You want to develop an easy to access, intuitive process that makes the reporting and analysis faster, more accurate, and less manual, right? So the easier that it is, the faster it is, the more natural it becomes, and the more easy it is to complete these tasks and provide information that is really meaningful. And part of that is being confident and efficient in the process. For those of you using Excel, there's a broad range of expertise in Excel, and a lot of the use of Excel boils down to repetitive type of tasks, and the ability for users to really explore the data and understand the data beyond the current reports that are being generated, I find to be limited in many cases. And utilizing a tool that allows for curiosity and exploration into specific subsets of a portfolio or into particular areas of growth, et cetera, just provides for more education and better knowledge about the ongoing changes that are occurring in the portfolio, and gives you the ability to adapt your reporting over time to critical changes that you're seeing and that you may hear from regulators and other significant entities that obviously need reporting about the portfolio. And then one that is very critical, of course, is data consistency. This is also something that can be challenging in many cases. Obviously, the core system is one piece, and there can even be inconsistencies within a core system. But when we speak to other databases that are upheld in addition to the core system, then we get into where certain things are held in one place, certain things are held in another, and providing a consistent, singular database where you can report on those various pieces of information collectively, again, provides for fair and reliable reporting, accurate reporting, but also, frankly, ties into the efficiency and speed piece as well. And the last 2 points here that I have are, you want to always keep in mind the audience of the reporting that you're providing. If there is a report that your CFO needs, that may be entirely distinct from the CCO or the COO or the board or regulators. And so always keep in mind the capabilities and the needs and curiosities of these different entities, and provide reporting that is concise to those needs. And then finally, focus on the impact. Providing numbers on the page is always valuable to an extent, but understanding the data and your ability to provide a narrative that focuses on impact and the ability for the audience to improve the decision-making process is a critical part of loan portfolio management and loan portfolio reporting. So those are the key kind of observations that I've had in the long experience of IntelliCredit in managing loan portfolio data. So hopefully you glean some insights from some of that advice. So this is a slide that our marketing team loves. So one thing that IntelliCredit that we like to get out of the way as a point of emphasis early on is how easy it is to implement and get started with us. There's no software installation. There's very minimal data mapping that needs to occur. IntelliCredit handles all of the data mapping. You just provide those raw data files, and we kind of take care of the rest and work it like magic. We do training, and then that's really it. So sometimes in the financial technology, community banking space, there's an assumption that implementing software is very difficult. We are really the opposite of that. We make it as easy as possible. And so, yeah. Okay, so now we're going to dive into Matt's experience in the tool and talk about Lincoln County Bancorp and some of the reporting and the ways that he thinks about his portfolios and so forth. So Matt, I'll let you introduce the Bancorp.
Sure. So Lincoln County Bancorp, we are about $1.5 billion holding company. We have 4 independent community banks within our group. We're scattered all over the state of Missouri. I do, again, loan review and ACL calculations for all four of those banks. And, one of my favorite things about working for the holding company is, and I tell this to everybody, is my wife and I actually have four kids, and having four banks is kind of similar in that, each bank has its own, even though we all operate under a similar policy, each bank has its own personality, its own strengths and weaknesses. All the banks have, obviously different markets, different demographics. And so I'm kind of skipping ahead here, but, having a unified way and a consistent way for me to look at the data from each of those banks kind of levels the playing field, which is, one of the aspects of IntelliCredit that I'm really fond of. But, for a long time, we've been on the same core provider, and there is reporting available in our core system, and maybe like some of you out there, it's it's pretty rudimentary. You can kind of get high level things, or you can build your own reports, but even that's a really clunky process for us. And so when I was introduced to IntelliCredit, I immediately thought, man, this is what we're missing. This is a huge missing piece, for our decision making and our portfolio tracking. Our reporting capability has been enhanced greatly. So it's just been a great tool for me to be able to field questions. I can field questions from our banks so much faster now because I can get in here and find things very quickly that I haven't been able to do in the past. So anyway, that's sort of a rough overview of our holding company and kind of the value that we found in IntelliCredit so far.
Great. Thanks, Matt. Yeah, so we have about 4 different areas of focus. So this one is the monthly portfolio analysis. And then we have these examples of reports in the analyzer that we'll look at live in just a moment, and have Matt walk through and talk about the value that they provide. But if there are any questions throughout anything that we're discussing, we are monitoring the chat. So if you want to ask a question, feel more than free to, and we'll Matt and I will field them appropriately. So okay, so this first grouping here, again, monthly portfolio analysis. So let's dive into this page. And so this here is the first area that you wanted to discuss, correct, Matt? Oh, before we begin, I should clarify. We have one of the one of the banks that Matt manages here, People's Bank and Trust in Troy, Missouri. But we have loaded in here data that's totally fictitious. So you'll see it's 7/31/2026 and 6/30/2026. So this is all fictitious data. So just wanted to make that clear at the outset. So Matt, I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, sure. So this is, this page with the standard reports, this is something that came with IntelliCredit. We didn't have to do anything to build this page. And even without us customizing anything, there's such a great, useful list of reports down the left-hand side there. But, when you first log in, you're greeted with this credit overview screen, which, honestly is, I know I've got a couple of bank presidents who, this is what they want to see. Like, they're waiting for the first of each month. We upload once a month our data. So they're waiting for the first of the month so they can see, in particular, they want to see their average, their yield, the interest rate there, and they want to see that change month over month. This is not something that is easy for them to see in our current core. And so I've even got one president who will take that number and figure out what that bump is in his interest income for the year. And he'll tell the board that each month. He'll say, hey, we increased our average yield by this, and that translates to this many dollars. So again, that's just one area where just right off the rip, you have some great information at your fingertips. One of the things that I really do like about this is the ability to change data set periods. So, the standard right now is that when we log in, I'm seeing the last 2 data sets. Here you see 7/31 and 6/30. But what I really love about this is the ability to easily click the little cogwheel there that David's hovering over. And I can go back and pick any data set from any month that we have uploaded to the system. So if I want to look at the last quarter, I can easily do that. If I want to see the last year, I can do that. And that's been really useful to look at the bank's performance, year in to year in. How have we done? What's our yield been? Are we up or down in loans? Lots of really good information that you can see there. And then, beyond that, if you do see, the top line there is a change in loan count. So it's probably useful to know that we changed by one loan, but it's more interesting to know that you can click on that number and it's going to go ahead and tell you how your loan portfolio changed over that time period. And I just find this really useful. In some cases, you're going to see some of your loans that maybe aren't performing real well that have left, and that's kind of a reason to celebrate at times. We've all had loans that we've had to deal with longer than we wanted to, but this is just a great snapshot where you can see right down into the portfolio level what came in and what left over that time period. So again, that's kind of the some of the things I use right away when I first log in, because it's all there on that first page. All right, we want to jump to the next slide there, David.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you mentioned something about Query Builder. Did we want to jump there or next slide?
Let's see. We'll do that on the next slide. Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, so this next one is bank operations. And so this is kind of, again, the text here, this is kind of for reference, mostly for after the fact. This is kind of a summary of the things that we're going to look at during the demo here. So, we want to look at the risk grade distribution.
Yeah. So actually, it's kind of funny that we're looking at this now. Just this morning, I went into each of our 4 banks and I pulled this report up because we're getting ready to we're actually going to convert cores for all 4 banks. And I wanted to make sure, do I have any risk ratings of 1 across any of our portfolios? And so this is a great fast way to find that. And I can see that, no, I don't. So that means everything is rated like it should be. On that screen there, you'll see that there is 1 loan that is ungraded for 524. I think that's 1 loan. It may be more than 1. Okay, so that's 1 loan. So what I found also as sort of an unexpected benefit of IntelliCredit is this is actually kind of quality control for our loan department. So we're able to see, we put a loan on without a risk rating. So rather than that just being accidentally found later, anytime I go into any of our banks and see an ungraded dollar amount, I know I can click on it, and then I can just shoot an email off and say, hey, we need to get this loan risk rated, and then it gets corrected. So that's another great a way for double checking that we're putting the risk ratings in correctly, or that we're putting them in at all. One of the other things that is really handy about this tool is the Query Builder portion. So Query Builder is what I use a lot of times when I get a call from an officer. This has your whole portfolio data in here, and then you can just go in and choose what fields you want to look at any given time. So you can pull fields in and out. So if we wanted to look at, I don't know, yeah, there goes David. He's using this to filter data by a specific set of parameters. So if I wanted to find all the loans we have in a certain zip code, for example, that's easily done. Yeah, there you go. So I could find, we only have 1 loan in that zip code, and that may be a question that I get from one of our banks who may be wanting to look at some marketing, for example. So the Query Builder is really kind of a powerhouse in my mind of just the ability to get into that data and edit and sort, and it's so much faster for me to work with Query Builder and IntelliCredit than it is to do anything in our core system, just because it's all right there and easily accessible. One of the other things, so we'll go back to just the standard reports here. One of the other things that I use this for quite a bit is I look at the top borrowers and concentrations report. And what we find here is loans that are grouped together by a relationship, and I'll give the relationship a name in IntelliCredit, and then it will actually sort them by balance, or there's several different ways you can look at this data, but this gives us a snapshot look at our top borrowers in the bank. This is useful on several levels. One being, obviously you can help monitor how close you might be getting on a concentration, for example, or legal lending limit. It helps me from my loan review position because this helps me build a scope of, I can easily just go in and say, hey, the top 20 borrowers here, I know I'm going to need to look at during this loan review just because of the size of the borrowers. But then if you click on loan count next to any of those borrowers, it's going to go ahead and open up a menu that will give you your full list of loans, and you can see all kinds of data there as well. And then it's worth noting anything that you open up in here, you could export to Excel, which I do. If I'm creating loan worksheets, I'll export the data, the table that we just saw, into another worksheet, and I've got those available for my loan review. So that's another great feature that helps me with loan review. And so one of the other areas that I do want to point out real quick is the, I believe it's, pricing for risk. I had my name here backwards. So I always find this interesting because this kind of shows you these areas in red that you'll see here are areas where you're actually earning less in your portfolio for higher risk loans. So in other words, as you adversely rate loans, this shows you where you probably need to, as you can, tighten those up because you're actually earning less for the higher amount of risk that you're taking on. I'm hoping at some point that this would be the kind of report that our ALCO committees may want to start using for loan pricing. Right now, we do loan pricing at the loan committee level, but I think that as as ALCO committees set strategies, I think this is a great report that could be an awesome tool for them to say, hey, this is what we think the in-house pricing needs to be in order for us to achieve the goals that we're setting as an ALCO committee.
And do you typically look at this report, Matt, by the FFIEC code?
Yes.
Okay, got it. Yeah. Because obviously there are many ways to toggle this down.
Yes,
Loan officer.
sure.
Any other critical data point?
Right. Yep.
Okay, so we're next slide, right?
Yeah. Next slide.
Yeah. So those were kind of the bank ops reports, and here's a summary of kind of the things we covered. And then insights into relationships. And you touched on that a little bit, but we can dive a little deeper as well.
Yeah, I did. I ran ahead of myself a little bit there, but yeah, I was looking at the top borrowers report and just talking about how you can monitor where your borrowers may be getting close to a concentration or a legal lending limit. This is a great useful place to look at that. We have aggregate reports available in our core system, but if someone misses tying a loan into a relationship, then you run the risk of potential lending limit violation if that doesn't get caught. So the way that the relationships are built in IntelliCredit, it's just so easy to group everything together as those monthly data dumps come in. I've just got a lot of confidence in really am looking here to keep an eye on those levels. So a couple of custom reports that we've built that I thought might be worth looking at is the first one is one it's got a long name, but it's maturities, past dues, watch, and substandard. So we built this fairly recently. Right now for upcoming maturities, we send out a system report to our loan officers. We send them a separate past due loan report. They can pull a watch loan report and a substandard loan report. So you're talking about 4 different core report pulls. What we were able to do with IntelliCredit is just go in and build all that data into one spot, sort it by officer. So we can send this out now and an officer can say, oh, the next 60 days, I have these handful of loans that are going to be maturing. So I need to get in front of those and make sure we're ready for renewal. They can also, the next page down, the 30 plus days past due. It's just another snapshot of it broken down again by officer. So they don't have to wade through an entire list of customers. They can go right to their officer name and say, here's my list of borrowers that as of month end were 30 days past due. And so then they can begin to develop a plan to work with those borrowers. Same with the watch list. Again, it's just a convenient spot by officer to have all of your watch list loans in front of you, which obviously are things you need to keep an eye on. So you can look at, days past due is a great example of just right there at your fingertips. So you get an idea of, oh, is this guy starting to deteriorate a little bit more? Do I need to step up an action plan? And then, of course, the same thing with the substandard and doubtful page. Clearly those are the ones you're most concerned about. So again, you keep an eye on days past due and make sure that the borrower is responding, so on and so forth. So those are just, that's one of the custom reports that we've built that we send out. We've also built, and actually, as a side note, just so everybody knows, David and Holly have worked with me extensively to, just help me with the system with reporting. And when I can't figure out how to get something done, they're extremely responsive, have been very helpful. And we've never come up against anything that we can't build in the system. So this other loan report is a CRE subtype report, and it's the idea is built around the CRE concentration. One of our banks has an extremely high concentration level, and so we built this as a response to what examiners were wanting to see at their last exam, and that is we want to see your portfolio more stratified. It's good that you haven't broken down by call code or GL code, however you want to say it, but this is a way for the bank to demonstrate, yeah, we have so many loans in 1 to 4 family there, for example, but when we break it down further by business type, you can see that even within each segment, they're really well stratified. So again, this is a perfect example of where we're able to address a concern and even an MRA that examiners have brought to us just by building a report, and they were thrilled to see this. This was, and it's obviously good for the bank too, but the examiners were very thrilled to see that we could get something just so easily at our fingertips. So those are the maturities report and the CRE subtypes are a couple of examples of reports that have been, I don't want to say critical because they haven't been critical necessarily, but man, they've really gained us a lot of efficiency. And in the case of this report, it's built in a way that we never could have done with our core system. Great. And David, I guess we're on to the next slide.
On to the next slide. So last section here, I believe.
Yeah.
So it's just management and board reporting. So kind of, I guess, the culmination of everything kind of flows upward, and it seems. Okay, so we're starting with the standard reports once again. So just to orient that a little bit. So as we're flipping through these are various templates, which are a collection of various pages, which is essentially connects kind of to that best practice that I mentioned, where you want to have a set of reports that understand their target. Like the most recent one we looked at the target was primarily, it sounded like, the regulator. So this allows you to kind of flip between various report packages that you may have created, and we call those templates. So back up to the standard reports. Yep.
So again, standard reports, is just, again, the first thing you see when you log in. We've looked at it already, but it's, again, just fantastic to be able to see. And one thing I didn't mention there was the classifications. You can see the change in that month over month. And if you click on that change number, again, I'm sorry, over on the left there, David.
Sorry, which one?
In the change column on the classified. Yeah, there you go. Sorry. Yeah. So if we click that, we're going to be able to see which borrowers paid or were removed or even upgraded, which is another neat feature. There are times, so upgrades and downgrades are supposed to go through loan review. Occasionally one will slip through. And so this is a way for me to keep track of those, so that if the bank did make a change I wasn't aware of, I can follow up with them on what the circumstances were. So again, I know we've been to this credit overview a few different times, but let's look at one of the other custom reports that we made, which is the board reports, PBTC board. Okay. Yeah, there you go. So we found that it looks really similar to the standard reports, but what we did, for example, on top borrowers and concentrations, we essentially copied from the template page that IntelliCredit provided, but we've changed it to exposure as opposed to balance. We wanted to, really watch the overall exposure in these categories. And I don't see the borrowers are not on there, I don't think.
I can, if this is meant to be borrower, we can.
Oh yeah, I think someone must have changed that on me, but that's fine. So again, it's nice to see the exposure level versus just the balance level. So you know that some of those big borrowers obviously are going to have a line of credit. So it's important to know what they could go up to. And again, that's helpful for the examiners. A lot of times they'll say, here's your balance, but what's the total exposure? So this is an easy place to get to that. We also found that, as I mentioned earlier, watch loans, substandard loans, non-accrual loans, insider loans, each one of those represents a system, a core report that we have to go pull and then compile all these together. Whereas with this, with the IntelliCredit report, it's all in one spot. Everything that is required to go to the board by regulation can be done with the IntelliCredit reporting. So it's really sped things up. And I've had several directors that have either said to me directly or, through a bank president, that these reports that come from IntelliCredit are so much easier to read than our core reports. But once you've got a report ready to run, I mean, it's so easy to just click the generate report button up on the top, and it'll ask you which pages you want, and you just download. And so literally, you can do in about 5 seconds what it would take us, I don't know, 15 or 20 minutes probably to pull all those system reports and compile them. So this is just an area where IntelliCredit shines, is the efficiencies and the time savings that you can get in reporting and research, etc. And then
so
go ahead.
to that end, when you have all this configured, and let's say you upload 831 data, what's the time frame between that point of upload of the data to when you can generate this report? Are there any others? Everything's already set. It just updates based on the new data that's loaded in.
Yep.
And everything, right? And the same thing works in a go backwards type of way. I could snap back to last month just as quickly as the new data gets uploaded.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely. And so I guess the last area that we'll look at of custom reports is the ACL report. So this is a report packet. Is it on there? Oh, okay.
That one may be private. Is that
you know what? It probably is, David. Sorry about that, but I can easily address it. It would be similar in function to the loan reports that we send to the board, except for it's a series of reports that I have to pull for the quarterly loan quarterly allowance calculation for each bank. So again, in lieu of me going out and pulling 6 or 7 or 8 reports, it's another come in here, click a button to generate the report, and then I'm off and running. So there's just, it's hard to describe how much time this saves, how much efficiency it gains.
Great. Yeah, so just to talk through that little item. So when you create a template, you have the option of sharing it with the other users or making it private. And so I can see for myself, I have 3 private reports here that are associated with People's Bank and Trust. And so this report the ACL report Matt is talking about is private to just him. So that means the other users can't see it necessarily or at all, especially in my case. Okay. Yeah, so we haven't had any questions in the chat, but we're keeping an eye on that. If anything comes up that anyone would like to ask, feel more than free to. But I appreciate that walkthrough, Matt. I even learned something, even though I work with you almost every week or month, it seems. So thank you. That was very, very insightful. I appreciate it. So right now in the IntelliCredit tool, we are offering a 3-month trial where, no risk, I guess they always say, is, you can try it out for 3 months with your own data and see what the value is. And that's kind of our opportunity to demonstrate that value of the tool to you. So if you'd like it to know about that, you can email info@intellicredit.com. This is kind of a summary of what to expect from the setup. Essentially, you provide the data, and then we train you and basically upload data every month, and that's really about it. I think that Matt would probably agree that the setup and maintenance of this tool is very minimal and easy. Really just comes down to that data source.
Definitely.
And then this is kind of an overview of IntelliCredit in general. We have solutions that help you complete annual review, even an internal loan review function, a tool for that internal function, the portfolio analyzer. And then we also do loan review and stress testing as a service as well. So if any of those interest you, we can always have conversations about those as well. On September 17th, we have an event that's focused on loan review. And Sean Ahmad from National Capital Bank, he's the Deputy Chief Credit Officer, really astute guy in DC. He'll be on discussing his experience with the IntelliCredit loan review. So don't want to miss that, especially if you're here in RFP season for loan review. Our loan review team does a really fantastic job with a very experienced review team. And they even utilize specific aspects of our software platform to really make that process very efficient. So if that's something you're in the market for, definitely keep that in mind. And September 17th, 2 p.m. But thank you for attending. If you have any final thoughts, Matt, feel free to share. Otherwise, we appreciate everyone joining and your attention. And you can always reach out to us. Again, info@intellicredit.com. And have a great rest of your afternoon.
Thank you.